appreciate all you do. So, as you mentioned, Matt Canon, our Land Stewardship Coordinator, is here with us today, and he'll talk in a little bit about a herring count. But land donation, we were just very fortunate to receive 3 parcels from Steve Backus. You see your map there on the screen. The parcels are outlined or circled in red. There are 3 adjacent parcels, and you can see them in the context of other conservation land that has been preserved by Harwich Conservation Trust, thanks to generous, forward-thinking land donations by many different individuals and families. Just to orient you, off to the upper left is Town Hall, and then Bank Street runs down to the south. And that's just where these parcels are off behind Bank Street on Gristmill Lane, which runs roughly parallel to Bank Street for a little while. But Lover's Lane, runs off to the right. There's some conservation there you see to the right, protected by Harwich Conservation Trust. Off to the west or left, there's additional conservation land, and those parcels were just donated last year by Richard Tickner and Jennifer Smith. So you can see quite a growing assemblage of conservation land. And just south of those parcels that are circled in red, those parcels donated by Steve Backus, just south of those are 2 parcels donated to the Trust by Andrea Aldrovandi in memory of her mother, Marcia K. Iddles. A sign marks the spot of that new protected open space right on Bank Street. So what's neat about this land, and we'll learn more about that maybe in a future program with you, is that there is the possibility of a potential vernal pool there. Oh, okay. And so by preserving that land and the adjacent land on Gristmill Lane, we're helping to protect a very important and sensitive wildlife habitat.
You're not that far from one off of Bank Street there.
That's right. Yeah, not far from Bank Street. Yeah. Exactly.
Do they connect in any way?
Those 3 parcels that were recently donated do connect to the 2 that were donated by Andrea Aldrovandi. So it's quite a nice little wildlife corridor, and even more meaningful with the potential for this vernal pool. We're going to study that vernal pool this spring in end of March, April, when certain amphibians might be present that would indicate that it is indeed a vernal pool. So stay tuned. Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
And so, Matt, I think you're up next to tell us about the herring count.
Herring count 2014. We'll kick off April and May. So we'll start April 1st. We'll have a lot of volunteers coming out. We have a lot of support from the APCC, Association to Preserve Cape Cod, the Town of Harwich, the Conservation Department, the Natural Resource Department, and also the Chatham Fishermen's Alliance, as well as the Cape Cod Salties. So a lot of different groups come together to support this great event. I think we have a map. Yep, there's the map. So this actually shows you the route of the herring. And you can see they come up from the Nantucket Sound, maybe mid to late March. It depends on the year. And then they kind of go through, what is that, the East Reservoir?
Yeah, the West Reservoir.
West Reservoir.
Yep, up the fish ladder. Yep.
Up the fish ladder, and then they'll make their way over to Hinckley's Pond, that's where we'll be counting, and eventually they make their way all the way to Long Pond and Seymour's Pond. So amazing trek they make, and we're fortunate to be able to count them at Hinckley's Pond.
Yeah.
And okay, you haven't counted any yet because they haven't really been out here, right?
Yeah. They have not. No,
okay.
April and May.
April and May are the months for the herring count. Yeah. Okay, so you're just getting your group organized?
Yes, and actually so we'll have an event here March 3rd, a kickoff, bring all the volunteers together, go over some new techniques we're using, some new ideas, and
what's new with the herring count?
Not too much, but some slight modifications to the program. New little instruments we have, new thermometers. That's pretty much it, but it's important for the volunteers to know.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of new members?
We actually do. We have a lot of repeats, but we are also getting new members. I'm actually going to the Chatham Fishermen's Alliance tonight to try to get some new volunteers. So we're always looking for new volunteers, but we do have a steadfast crew of diehards.
It's a great program. It's a great program.
Very good. And I guess next thing we want to know about is the Eyes on Owls.
Owl show coming up.
Owl
Don't miss it.
show, right.
Yes.
This Saturday.
This Saturday, March 1st,
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. right here in the Harwich Community Center. 8th year in a row that Harwich Conservation Trust has hosted Eyes on Owls. And, you know, just look at these photos here. There's Mark and Marcia Wilson, the presenters. And Mark there has a Eurasian eagle owl that they will be bringing. Eurasian eagle owl is the largest owl species in the world.
Wow.
And then you saw that snowy owl, and then here's Marcia with 2 spectacled owls from South America. So she'll also have one of those spectacled owls with her. So, and they'll have a screech owl. Isn't that great?
Picture, yeah.
Isn't that great? Now, all these photos were taken by Mark, actually. He's a retired professional photographer with the Boston Globe. I mean, look at that photo. Snowy owl, quite a celebrity, right? On the Cape this winter, right?
Yeah.
Because of that surge of snowies coming down from northern Quebec because
In the cold.
in the cold, right?
Winter.
Right, yeah. And so a lot of people have been able to see them in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now this will be a chance for folks to see them up close and personal. And you can look right into those eyes and see those golden irises and see the individual feathers and see those talons and just see the beauty and majesty of these birds up
How
close.
long does an owl live, usually?
That's a great question. That'll be one of the many questions asked
Okay.
of Marcia and Mark, because it depends. If they are allowed to live out their natural lives as they are with Marcia and Mark, each of these owls has a permanent disability.
Yes.
But Marcia and Mark have state and federal permits which allow them to have these owls and bring them around during these unique educational programs. But they may live a little longer in captivity that way versus in the wild. Certainly, if any of these owls had injuries that could have been rehabilitated, then they would have been able to release these owls. But these owls have special circumstances, and
But they are not a food supply for anybody, right?
these owls,
Right.
no, they're the top of their
The top
food
of the
chains.
chain, right.
Yeah, and you're going to see some examples of some of our local owls. You're going to see great horned owl up close. You're going to see the screech owl, like I mentioned. You're going to see the smallest New England owl, the saw-whet owl. It's not much bigger than a can of soda. I mean, it's amazing. And so there'll be a hooting demonstration with audience participation if people choose. It's a lot of fun. We keep the cost reasonable. We have never changed the admission price in 8 years. It's $5 for ages 5 to 11 and $10 for ages 12 to adult. Not really recommended for under age 5. But people can pay in advance on our website, harwichconservationtrust.org, or chances are if you're seeing this program, you know, it might be on Saturday, the day of the program, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m. Just come on down and pay at the door and just have some fun and see these beautiful birds. It's great.
Very good. I think that's what I did one year.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to have a farmer's market here, I think.
Meet your local farmers.
Meet your
That's
local
right.
farmers.
5th annual time, we're hosting that event. It's a great occasion where farmers from across the Cape come together right here in the community center and let the public come up and ask them questions, get to know them, get to know their buy fresh, buy local. You see that emblem more and more across the Cape, that local food movement. You know, folks get to see not only the farmers themselves, but you know, they get to know the farms through these farmers, some of these special settings that farmers cultivate and create some interesting niche products, many of which will be on display here. So we're talking about more than 24 different farmers.
Wow.
Everyone from Donna Wood Eaton, who runs Cedar Spring Herb Farm locally, to Leo Kakunas, who runs Cape Farm Supply and Cranberry Tours in Northwest Harwich. There'll be E&T Farms out of Barnstable. There'll even be some animals. There might be some piglets. We might have some lambs. We don't really know until the day of when our partner farmer there, Jim Canarium of Miss Scarlett's Blue Ribbon Farm in Yarmouth, brings the animals. But it's great. It's a lot of fun. People always enjoy themselves and learn a lot.
Very good.
Yeah.
And are they all grow veggies, do they?
Some of them do. Some of them
Maybe.
are you know, raising farm animals. Some are you know, working on honey production. All different farming
Chicken, too?
opportunities.
Yeah,
Chickens, yeah.
chickens,
I should
cows.
mention it's Saturday, March 8th.
Yes.
Here at the community center. Saturday, March 8th starts at 1 o'clock,
Okay.
and you know, it'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun.
It should be.
Yeah, free too.
Well, there you go. You have the match program from the Harwich Conservation Trust, and starting with the herring account and going to the eyes on owls, and then you're going to meet the farmer.
Excellent.
Well, a good month, and we will look forward to meeting all these people, and thanks for bringing it to us.